Hello and welcome to part 2 of my networking series. In part 1 we discussed tips on how to get started with networking, so the best arenas to go to initially, especially if you're quite an introverted person, or if walking into a room full of people and just talking is out of your comfort zone. I give some tips on part 1 on how to get over that fear. So you've taken the big step and you have booked onto a networking event. What now? What do you say? How do you say it? Who do you speak to? Etc, etc. This is the part I think that's the hardest part. I think it's not so much the doing it, it's the fear of doing it that people experience. So booking onto a networking event's easy. You've done that. You know it's easy. But what to say when you get there? Now, all of us, I think, that have started at a networking event have been guilty of trying to say too much or forget half of what they were going to say and end up saying too little. So I'm just moving my camera around a bit because it seems to be jogging about a little bit. There we go. So we can be either guilty of saying too much or forgetting everything and saying too little. I have always practiced what I'm going to say before I go. So just on your own, before you go out, even in the car, give yourself 2 minutes to give an idea of what you do and the kinds of people you work with. So it doesn't have to be a history of everything you do. You don't have to sit there and, like, for example, if it was me, sit there and say, well, I'm a virtual assistant, the services I offer copywriting, proofreading, diary and inbox management, event management. I can do some of your social media posts for you. I can't do the analytics, but I can, upload everything. I can do some updates on WordPress websites, blah, 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 blah. And you're spieling off a list of services. And the person listening is going, yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, brilliant. Oh, well, that sounds like that's a good business. Oh, well, good luck with that, because there's nothing engaging for them. So what I tend to do is either tell people the sort of people I work with, or why I got into it, because it's a story then, and it's a bit more personal than just saying, this is what I do, this is what I can offer you, this is how much it costs, this is me, basically. Nobody wants to hear that. It's like any business. So, for example, if you were going to book a wedding photographer, just because somebody said, well, I can take wedding photos, I can take family photos, I can take all kinds of photos, really, whatever you want, I can take them. You're not going to book them, are you? You're going to go based on experience or references, somebody that's referred them to you, recommendations. So if that photographer says, oh, I've recently just worked with a lovely couple who got married just down the road, actually, this beautiful church, and I got some wonderful shots, I don't know, overhead, and there were things they'd never seen before because I'd blurred out the background and made them really pop in the photo. And they were so pleased, and they've actually recommended me to their friend who's getting married, and they've actually recommended me to their sister that is a lot more inviting than somebody standing there going, I could do this, 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 and this, and this. Tell a story, or try to tell a story. When it comes to the group I go to, when we stand up and do our 1 minute, we don't always stand up, but when we stand up and do our 1 minute, I try and think of things that will engage those in the room. So people I'm working with, perhaps. So I currently work with a fitness vlogger. So if there's a PT in the room, or somebody that owns a fitness brand, they're going to be more intrigued to hear about that. Or somebody else I'm working with is going to be going on maternity leave at some point. So I'm helping them with their emails currently, and I'll manage that while they're on maternity leave. So speaking about that, or somebody in a room of people that you know have got children, or might have to take time off in the 6 weeks, and they're worried about their business. Things like that, like working mums or dads even. Becoming more engaging and telling a story and fitting with the mould that, you know they're going to be interested in. That's what you need to do. Perhaps you don't know much about your captive audience. You don't know whether they've got children or, what their interests are. Tell them a bit about you then. Don't just tell them all about the business. Tell them a bit more about you. Tell them, why you got started and why you love doing what you do. So you could start with, if they say, what's your business? Say, oh, I'm a virtual assistant. I started my business last year. I'd worked in London for over 14 years in a corporate capacity as an executive assistant and a PA. And I just realised, I wanted to have more time at home, trying to juggle going into London and having my son and stuff. It just got too much. So now I can give the same level of support to more people in the same amount of time, but I'm not travelling here, there and everywhere, so it works for me. And I find that business owners prefer that, because in this day and age, who needs us sitting outside their office? It's a lot more engaging, isn't it, than me telling them everything I can do. So if you're worried about what to say, just have a little think. Write down your USPs, which is really hard. I know, which is really hard when it's about yourself. If your friend said, what are my unique selling points? You'd go, well, you're amazing at this. You're ridiculously quick on Microsoft, or you're such a talented photographer. You can reel off a million things for other people, but when it's you, it's very hard. So if you are struggling with things like that, just ask a friend or somebody you work with, what would you say my salient points are, my unique selling points? What would you say they are? And I find that does help. And then you go, oh, okay, yeah, well, I can also do that based on what they've said, So write down your USPs, but also your story, or the people that you work with. Engaging stories, something that you may have done with a client. Oh, that sounded terrible. Service issue, mate. Oh God, it's getting worse. Let's start that again. So what tasks have you carried out for a client? Sounds better, doesn't it? So what tasks have you carried out for a client? What clients have you worked with? Just make a list of all these things. So your USPs, the tasks that you currently carry out for clients, type of clients you work for, and perhaps something that you haven't carried out for somebody but you can do. Don't just make it up and say, oh, I'm going to offer that service now because you think that would benefit the people in the room. Make sure it is something you can do. So write all that down, and then try to create a sort of not a speech. So we want to create a script, and once you have that script written down and you have all your points on that script, you can then practice. And it really is important to practice. Don't think you can go there and just spiel it off if you've never done it before, because then if you are somebody who's quite nervous about networking, you may find that you get there and you just don't know what to say, and you miss out half of what you thought you were going to say. So you can practice in the mirror if you want to. I don't tend to do it. I don't like watching myself in the mirror, but it does help if you want to see what your body language is like, how you're coming across, what you're doing with your hands. I'm very gestury. I'm sure I should have been Italian, seriously, because as you'll have seen in my videos, these hands do not stop moving. Yes, so you can either practice in front of a mirror, or you can just stand in a room. I like to stand in my kitchen sometimes because it's quite a big open space, so it gives me more of that feel of a networking event. Or sometimes I'll just sit on my sofa and talk there, because sometimes you don't stand up, sometimes you're not doing a face-to-face, sometimes you're just sat talking. So mine goes something along the lines of this. What you want to do, or what you want to create, is a an overview of what you do, but you want it to flow. You want it to sound conversational, like you've just thought of this, okay? You don't want it to sound like a script. My business is, this is what I do. No, you want them to engage with you. So people think I'm a very confident person. I'm not. I'm really not. But I do have a fun, bubbly personality. So I try and bring that energy when I go to a networking event, because people don't want that person that's it looks like they don't want to be there. So if you are introverted, smile. Just smile. It lifts everything. Look how different you sound when you smile, and look how different you look when you smile. It will make such a difference, and it will change the way people perceive you. So mine goes along the lines of, hi, my name's Sarah Clark. My business is SVC Virtual Assistant. I provide virtual support to business owners and individuals who feel like they are becoming time constrained by the sheer amount of admin they're trying to work through on a day-by-day, week-by-week basis. A number of people think that this sort of role is just for corporates. It really isn't. I work with a vlogger, I work with a photographer, but I also do work with corporates. So I do work with digital marketing agencies, but they're all quite small businesses as well. So it can work for anybody. The tasks I do varies. So it could be that, your more traditional PA tasks, or it could be more bespoke. So something I did recently for somebody was, an office setup. They're, moving offices, and they just wanted me to find a decent office for them, source all the, equipment, look into other software options, etc., etc. So I've started to do that for them, which has been so great fun, because I haven't done that for years. I did that before, when I was a PA for, an entrepreneur years ago. And I was a personal, PA, but I haven't done it since. So it's been so much fun to do something a little bit different from your diary and inbox management, expenses, etc. So that's a bit about me. If you feel like some of this is resonating with you, you're not able to concentrate on your core business, which is your clients, because you're just so busy doing all the back office stuff, all the admin, come and have a chat with me afterwards, and we'll see if I can help, or at least give you some tips on how to manage your day a little bit better. So that's Sarah Clark, SVC Virtual Assistant. Thank you. Done. It's engaging, it's smiley, and it's short. It didn't take a lot. And did you see off the cuff there, I just kind of went, I've just been recently helping somebody set up an office. So I haven't done that for years, but I love it. I love doing stuff like that. So it's also telling them about your past experience, but it all just sounds quite conversational and easy. So when you're doing your script, write down all your salient points and then just practice and make sure it flows. And if you can, why not do it in front of a friend? Why not show them what you're planning on saying, or do it on a video and watch yourself back? Things like that I find really do help in these situations, and especially if you are an introverted person. Doesn't matter if you're timid. So when you speak, you might talk quietly like this, whereas I'm loud and brash. You might talk quite quietly. If you smile as you talk, it comes across so much nicer than if you just sit there like this, looking petrified. So there are ways around it. So it's all about body language. It's all about giving off the confidence. So you may not feel it, but as long as you give the impression you're confident, people will perceive that as well. So those are my tips on what to say when you go to a networking event. I will be doing a part 3 to this tutorial, and that will be building relationships and how to maintain them once you've finally gone to the networking event. So I hope this has been of some help to you. If you've recently gone to a networking event and you've experienced the same thing, or perhaps you've got some other tips, please put them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your tips on what to say. And don't forget, before you leave, to subscribe. Thanks guys, and I hope this has been of some help to you. See you soon.